So there you have it, some tips and tricks to help you in your pursuit of the perfectly homebrewed Weissbier. I don't know how helpful any of that was, but I had fun talking to Thomas. He's always a delight. Anyway, now we're going to switch gears and move on to today's beer and movie pairing. I was thinking about what I wanted to do here, and I was thinking, Weissbier truly is a one-of-a-kind style, and Schneider Weiss Tap 7 Original, our beer for today's pairing, is an iconic German beer. So I thought, who is an iconic German director with a style all their own? And really, there are only a couple of names that come to mind for me, Fritz Lang and Werner Herzog. There are other big names in German cinema, sure. There's Wim Wenders and Wolfgang Petersen and Rainer Werner Fassbinder, F.W. Murnau, Leni Riefenstahl, I guess, but seriously, who wants to open that can of worms? I went with the Werner Herzog film, because he seems to embody the spirit of Weissbier more than Lang. And he's from Bavaria, while Lang was technically born in Austria. So we're going to pair the iconic Tap 7 Original with Herzog's magnum opus Fitzcarraldo from 1982, starring Klaus Kinski. Werner Herzog has an indomitable spirit. He has filmmaking in his blood. He says he stole his first movie camera. That's how much he felt the need to make movies. And he loves to encourage other filmmakers. He started the Rogue Film School, which offers a 4-day seminar held at varying locations at infrequent intervals. The last one was in 2016, I believe. He doesn't teach any filmmaking techniques at his film school, though. Instead, he offers courses in the art of lockpicking, the neutralization of bureaucracy, traveling on foot, creating your own shooting permits, the exhilaration of being shot at unsuccessfully, and self-reliance. These are the kinds of things Herzog thinks you need in order to be a successful filmmaker. And he practices what he preaches. During an interview with the BBC in 2006, Herzog was shot by an unnamed assailant with an air rifle. Not only did Herzog not stop the interview, his response was simply, "It was not a significant bullet. I'm not afraid." Such a fucking badass. He once promised to eat his shoe if his buddy Errol Morris ever finished his film about pet cemeteries. That movie is called Gates of Heaven. It's great. And after it premiered, Herzog boiled and ate his fucking shoe. Supposedly the one he was wearing when he made the promise. That resulted in a short film directed by Les Blank called Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe, and it's pretty great too. You should check both of those out. Herzog was born in Munich, so he is as Bavarian as Weissbier itself, but he's known around the world. He's the only filmmaker to shoot a movie on every continent on Earth. Yes, including Antarctica. He's a notorious risk taker. When he had to shut down production on Fitzcarraldo because his lead actor dropped out due to dysentery, he went back to get more money from investors, and they asked him if it wouldn't be wiser to simply quit, to cut his losses. And he says, "If I abandon this project, I will be a man without dreams, and I don't want to live like that. I live my life, or I end my life, with this project." So, just like our buddy George Schneider I, Herzog doesn't hesitate to stake his life and well-being on a dream. Maybe it's a Bavarian thing, I don't know. Maybe they just grow a stronger breed of man out there. So, I picked Fitzcarraldo over other Herzog movies because it so perfectly sums up Herzog himself. It centers on a would-be rubber baron named Brian Sweeney Fitzgerald, who the local Peruvians call Fitzcarraldo because they can't pronounce his name properly. He is looking to make his fortune in the rubber business, but in order for him to do so, he has to gain access to the last remaining unclaimed patch of rubber trees in the area. This spot remains unclaimed because to reach it, one must navigate a particular stretch of river that's just lousy with deadly rapids and hostile natives. But that's not going to stop Fitzcarraldo, who procures an old steamship and sets out. The big set piece of the picture revolves around Fitzcarraldo's plan to circumvent the rapids that have prevented others from reaching their destination. So there are two rivers, they run next to one another, and he plans to go to the spot where the two rivers are closest and hop the steamship from one river to the other, thereby allowing it to pass through to the unclaimed area rich with rubber trees. The only problem with that is, to move the ship from one river to the other requires going over a small yet inconveniently placed mountain. Now, most filmmakers at the time would have opted for special effects to show the ship being pulled painstakingly over the mountain, maybe a miniature, or some primitive form of green screen, but Herzog decided to go ahead and actually pull the steamship over the mountain for real. For art. It turned out to be quite a feat, as you might imagine. It was also a brutal, dangerous experience for everyone involved. The extent of the sheer madness that was the making of Fitzcarraldo is recounted in the Les Blank documentary Burden of Dreams. You should definitely check that one out. Herzog, for all his disregard for the safety of his cast and crew, he is a true auteur. His films have their own distinct style. Their pacing is often laid back, even during tense situations. Like during a bit where a ship is shooting out of control through some dangerous rapids. There's no quick cutting. There's no tense music to amp up the tension. It's a slow, methodical trip that you, as a viewer, know will end in disaster. His camera's often steady and unblinking. He clearly isn't afraid to do things the hard way. He pulled a boat over a mountain, for fuck's sake. Kinski threatened to kill Herzog numerous times during the years that they worked together. But that perseverance paid off. I mean, the films Herzog and Kinski made together are among the best of their respective careers. And that's why Fitzcarraldo pairs so well with Schneiderweiss. Weissbier takes patience. Decoction mashing can be a painstaking process. Open-air fermentation is incredibly risky. The chances of the beer getting contaminated are exponentially higher. But these old-school Weissbier brewers persevere because they take the time and they take the risk. And they care enough to brew their beers the right way, even if it's not the most efficient or the safest way to do it. Just like Werner Herzog getting shot by some crackpot with an air rifle, they are not afraid. And, I think that's all I've got. That's going to be a wrap on Weissbier. We made it! 1 episode down. I hope you had a good time. I don't know. I had a good time. You're a really good listener, you know that? Thank you for spending this time with me. You can hit me up on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Searching for @BeerBlockbuster on either of those platforms should get you where you need to be. Also, beerblockbuster@gmail.com. That's a thing too. I hope you join me again soon when we'll go over another exciting style of beer and find out what makes it special. We will also be doing some alternative content, some movie rankings, maybe some other stuff too. Stay tuned for that. And I will talk to you later. Good night, nerds.